So everyone talks about job hopping to increase your salary. Everyone wants to increase their total compensation, whether they're working a tech job or any office job, by basically working at a company for maybe 6 months to a year and a half, maybe even up to 2 years, and then jumping ship to another company, because everyone knows you get more salary increases by going to another company, a new position, compared to getting a promotion internally within your own company. That's just how it is. And people have been using job hopping as a way to kind of catapult their salary progression. They can get higher salaries much quicker than people that maybe stay in a position for 3 to 5 years and then move on to other positions. So I'm going to actually say that this isn't usually the smartest thing to do, especially if you might be starting out in your career. So there is value in job hopping, of course. If you genuinely, like, let's say you get a job out of university or college and you generally don't see yourself improving much more, like you've already kind of peaked, maybe you're just doing the same feature development over and over, it's kind of repetitive at this point, and on top of that, your salary isn't the greatest, then in that case, for sure, job hop. And to some extent, other employers in the future will notice and they'll understand your point of view when you explain that to them, especially if they see that maybe the company you were at was a lower level company, maybe not as innovative, not as cutting edge, etc., things like that. However, the thing is, when you do this too often, especially if you're kind of a junior or even intermediate engineer, this really limits you because you can never really get your hands that dirty and hands-on in terms of real production environment applications and services, right? Because the reality is, when you join a new company, the seniors aren't going to give you ultimate responsibility over the team's success. And what they do is they wait for you to onboard, you to learn your way around their systems, and eventually you to become proficient with their systems. But that takes time, naturally. It doesn't matter if you're an expert programmer. The fact that you're joining a new company and a new team means that that'll take time, and that might even take a year or two for you to really get in your groove. And the issue is, if you always leave companies at the year mark or the 2-year mark, right when you kind of start to get your groove, and when you have the opportunity to actually really learn new things, new complex systems, because you're finally comfortable in that company, you're just going to leave. And then when you job hop at that point, you always kind of self-sabotage yourself and you limit yourself in terms of your long-term career. So job hopping really sacrifices long-term gain for short-term compensation, right? Short-term salary progressions. And over the long term, this can really hurt you. You can get to a point where maybe you have 8 years or even 10 years of software engineering experience. But if you've always job hopped after like a year or two, sure, you can always pull off getting interviews and getting jobs, right? You'll always find some company that will accept it and they'll overlook your short tenure. But the issue is, even with 10 years of experience, you've never really got your hands on the most complex systems available to you. And that really limits you and that holds you back because you're only a senior software engineer by title at that point, by years of experience. But if you actually had to do things and compete with another senior software engineer with a decade of experience, but he's actually got his hands dirty, then you won't be able to compete with him, right? He'll be levels above you, and you'll kind of still feel like a junior to intermediate level. So, and the only way to really solve that is by finding one good company. Even just, you don't need multiple, you don't need 10 different experiences, 1 or 2 good companies that really give you opportunity for growth, and on top of that, hopefully will also pay you decent. But the pay here, whatever, you can sacrifice it for a couple years, even 3 years, whatever, but they'll really give you opportunity to grow and to learn so that you can take that and keep that forever inside your brain and take that and carry it over to other companies, right? Because at that point, you'll actually have real experience, not basic 1 year of onboarding. You kind of put out some features out there, whatever. Anyone can do that. That's junior level stuff, basically. But you really get to be a senior once you actually learn these things. And job hopping blocks you from doing that. So if you have experience with this, or if you have any ideas about this, leave a comment down below. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel.